This is an entertainment novel that is different from any other entertainment novel author. The male protagonist from another family debuted either by singing, dancing, or dancing and singing, and then appeared in various movies and TV dramas. Shake Your Body, and then the big shots from all over will bow down. But what about our male protagonist Yang Hao? In order to become famous and have some business in my old man's small shop, I can only come and play I Am the God of War by Chi on time in front of the camera lens. Well, it's actually schizophrenia. Of course, if it's just this, it's okay. If you're mentally ill and don't go shopping with a kitchen knife, basically no one cares about you. But can you imagine it? Yang Hao, in order to make his films sell high at the box office, surprisingly, various provocative actions have taken off keywords of the novel. Director, please be self-reliant without pop-ups. Director, please be self-reliant. Download the complete set of TXT. Director, please be self-reliant and read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Preface. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Preface. Mr. Yang Hao from China, I am a Chinese translator hired by Neuralink Company. You can call me Bianca. Before the formal surgery, there are a few things we must explain to you in advance. Okay, you talk. Yang Hao tugged at his wrinkled clothes, trying to make his expression appear more natural. Before you, we had already conducted 7 batches of 103 experiments, and the results were not very optimistic. The first batch of experimental subjects were 23 monkeys. However, within a month, 15 of them died, of which 6 were just walking with their heads against a wall, 7 were just jumping off a building, and the other 2 were even worse. Perhaps due to a programming error in the chip, they mistakenly thought they were a super scion capable of blocking cars, but were crushed into meat patties and stuck to the road, which was unbearable. The second batch of experimental subjects is a pig. A boar, initially fine, can eat, sleep, sing, and even give its breeder a teasing look. On the 32nd day, due to garbled code on the external computer, it pounced on the keeper with a loud roar, revealing its fangs. The keeper was helpless and could only shoot it to death. The third batch of experimental subjects are humans. A patient with epilepsy suddenly fell ill and always involuntarily fell to the ground convulsing. In order to help this epilepsy patient return to a normal life, we implanted a computer chip in his brain. But the results of this experiment are still not very beautiful. The epilepsy was controlled, but other sequelae came, and he couldn't see anything with holes on the road. As soon as he saw it, he wanted to poke it with a stick. According to his guardian, just on the first day after the computer chip was implanted, this guy poked the exhaust pipes of 27 cars with a stick. Oh, by the way, his death 45 days later is said to be related to this behavior habit. This guy climbed onto a 35-meter-high chimney, poked it vigorously with a pole, and ended up falling into the chimney himself. The fourth batch of experimental subjects is gorillas. Due to the unsuccessful human experiments, in the fourth batch of experiments, we replaced humans with gorillas in protest from human rights organizations. The engineer with blonde hair and blue eyes is saying that a girl with yellow skin, black eyes, and black hair who has a foreign name is translating. When the translation reaches an excited point, saliva flies. Yang Hao sat on the chair, staring blankly out the window. Zhang Yimou and Gu Xuanwei are classmates of their brothers, while Hu Mei, Li Xiaohong, and Chen Kaiga are alumni of their peers at Beijing University. Nowadays, they have all achieved extraordinary accomplishments in art, but I have been working in the photography industry for so many years and have achieved nothing. Zhang Yimou commented that his buddies have poor light perception, poor composition, and often overlook the focus of their shots. Gu Xuanwei commented that his buddies basically lack imagination and creativity. The reason why he has been working as a photographer for so many years is entirely due to his own passion, and now, my buddy is 68 years old. Wandering for half a life, I have played what I should have, eaten what I should have, and enjoyed what I should have. If there are any regrets in this life. That's why my buddies need to prove that Zhang Yimou, Gu Chongwei, and others are all wrong. I am a photography master who can shoot stunning film and television works around the world, rather than relying on connections to infiltrate major domestic film and television crews. Of course. More importantly, my friend urgently needs money now. Yang Hao. Mr. Yang Hao. Oh. Yang Hao was startled out of contemplation by the Chinese translator named Beyonce shaking his arm. Mr. Yang Hao, have you understood the failure cases we just mentioned and the disclaimer from Neuralink Company? I understand. Yang Hao tugged at the wrinkled clothes on his body again. I have 2 questions and would like to confirm them at the end. Okay, you say it. Firstly, is it true that in this experiment, regardless of success or failure, my father, who is far away in China, has $300,000 to receive? 2. If. What I'm saying is that if the experiment is very lucky and successful, is it true that my entire brain has the ability to perform supercomputing, analyze data, process light perception, and have rich experience and expertise in art, just like what you advertised? Mr. Yang Hao, if the surgery can be performed on you at 10 o'clock, we guarantee that at 10:01, your father's medical account at Peking Union Medical College Hospital will have an additional $300,000 in advance deposit. 2. Yes, the total capacity of the 2 chips we are going to transplant into your brain this time is 2000 T, which includes text, audio, images. Beyonce wanted to say more, but Yang Hao had already exhausted himself and leaned his head back on the chair. He raised his hand and smiled calmly. What are you waiting for? Let's start straight. End of this chapter. Chapter 2.1, What is the situation? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2.1, What is the situation? On the street, under the streetlights, NI has been standing at the entrance of Yangchun Noodle Restaurant for an hour. When the sun sets in the west, it is already the beginning of the colorful lanterns. She stomped her feet hard, then put her hands to her mouth and let out a sigh, but the cold on Ni's body still had no intention of being dispelled. After all, Beijing is different from Jinling. In Beijing, before and after National Day, there is already a hint of wanting to enter winter at night. However, in Jinling, wearing short clothes and shorts can still show off the market. How about calling Teacher Song now and asking him when he can come back? Today, after 6 trips here, the Song Fongue screenwriting studio is still guarded by an iron general. But what should I say when I make a phone call? Teacher Song, it was introduced to me by the grandson of my mother's second aunt's 4th brother. Law. I would like to ask for your help in analyzing the characters in a novella. Originally, we had planned to meet today, but I waited here all day but couldn't see you. It seems like there's a bit of questioning, right? Perhaps it would have angered him because of this, and he wouldn't really help himself anymore. Thinking of this, Ni, who had already taken out her phone, put it back into her pocket. Let's go back. It's already 7:25 p.m. now. If we go back late, my dad, who is staying alone in the hotel, may be anxious. Lower down and tidy up her jeans, then pull down her pink jacket, slightly covering her 104-centimeter long legs. Nini, who felt a little tired, was ready to go back. However, just as she walked down the steps of the sidewalk, she saw more than 10 people running towards her. Are we about to start? It's almost there, very punctual every day. It's exactly 8 o'clock p.m., not much in a minute, not much in a minute. Have you brought everything with you? Bring it all. 2 shoulder-mounted cameras, 4 handheld DVs, electronic watches that can accurately measure time to milliseconds, transparent police shields, and 2 retractable batons. What about people? Has the person been contacted yet? Contacted, they promise to arrive before 8 p.m. Experts from Dishengmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital, experts from Hualongwen Hospital in Beijing, and doctors from the Department of Psychiatry at Peking University 6th Affiliated Hospital are said to have just returned from studying abroad. Oh, by the way, I heard that the national television program, Approaching Science, will also come here to shoot recently. People from the national television station are also coming. This is good, maybe we can also promote our website. I was already ready to leave, but when Ni heard the 4 words, Approaching Science, she withdrew her feet again. What are these people going to do? Where did strange things happen again? But when Ni turned around, she realized that the group of people who had bypassed her had rushed directly into the Yangchun Noodle restaurant behind her. Yangchun Noodle Restaurant. I was standing at the entrance of this shop for an hour just now, and the street across from this shop is the destination of my trip to the capital of Song Fongue screenwriting studio. Should I also follow in and take a look? At 8 o'clock in the evening, it won't take much time anyway. Ni has a boy-like personality, so she thinks of it and does it quickly. So she took out her phone and sent a text message to her father. Dad, you can find a place to have dinner alone. I may go back later. According to the neighbors near the studio, Teacher Song usually comes over to write at night, so I have decided to wait a little longer. Got it, girl, be careful and be safe. Dad seemed to be waiting for the neon text message, and as soon as it was sent, there was a reply. Upon receiving her father's reply, Ni's face was filled with a smile, and it felt great to be valued and cared for. However, just as she was about to put away her phone, she suddenly realized that someone was standing in front of her. Short hair, wearing black framed glasses, with a scrutinizing look in her eyes, but the most attractive thing to the neon is the emerald green bracelet on her right wrist. Judging from the appearance, it should be jade, which seems to cost a lot of money, right? Girl. Are you a student from Beijing University or Central Academy of Drama? I haven't seen you before, do I? Oh, hello. When the middle-aged woman in front of her asked, Ni smiled sweetly and said, I am a current student at Nanjing University. I came to Beijing this time to travel with my father. Oh, so it's from Nanjing University. The middle-aged woman had a sudden realization. I said I haven't seen you in the 2 major art schools in Beijing. However, you look really beautiful. Oh, thank you, thank you. Receiving praise, Ni was very happy. Miss, have you ever thought about becoming an actor? Ah. Suddenly hearing the middle-aged woman ask this question, Ni was a bit surprised. I think so, of course I do, even in my dreams. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to audition for an actor in a certain movie. But thinking of the confidentiality agreement she had already signed, Ni still swallowed the words she was about to blurt out. I'm not quite sure about that, after all, I'm still a student now. Hee, that's right too. The middle-aged woman shook her head and smiled, then took out a business card from her pocket and handed it to Ni. Girl, this is my business card with my phone number on it. If you ever want to become an actor, you can call me and I can help you fight for the opportunity. After speaking, the middle-aged woman turned her head and entered the Yangchun Noodle restaurant. Chang Jihong, after glancing at the name on the business card, Ni, who was not very familiar with the film and television industry, didn't feel much and wanted to throw it away. However, after thinking about it, she still put the business card in her pocket and followed the middle-aged woman into the Yangchun Noodle restaurant. However, when Ni walked in, she was a bit surprised in an instant. The 200 square meter storefront was already densely packed with people. Even though many people are eating noodles, everyone stands up and eats with bowls in their hands. Ni, who was 1.70 meters tall, tiptoed to find where the middle-aged woman named Chang Jihong had gone. At this moment, she noticed that more than 10 people who had first entered were now busy. Someone is taking off the clock hanging on the wall of the store, someone is setting up a camera, someone is helping 5 or 6 doctors in white coats set up seats for those who have just entered, and someone is moving several tables, chairs, and benches outside the kitchen door of the noodle shop. What are these people doing? Ni was puzzled when she suddenly heard a clattering sound, like the sound of the shackles worn by prisoners rubbing against the ground while watching a legal program. Sleeping Slot, it was really like this. Ni widened her eyes, and then she saw a handsome young man wearing a navy blue suit and a white shirt turning out from the kitchen of the noodle shop. The handsome young man had a wrist-thick ankle shackle on his right ankle, and the other end of the shackle was tightly nailed to the wall by an expansion screw. Ah! The god of war has come out. Bai Qi. Seeing him, the few brothers standing in the front row quickly retreated, while a group of men behind them said, "What are you afraid of? Is there still 5 minutes left until 8 o'clock? Can he still kick you away now? Sleeping trough. What is the situation?" With a bewildered expression on her face, Ni once again uttered a vulgar sentence in her heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 3.2, Upgrading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3.2, Upgrading. Hello, netizens, hello everyone. I am your old friend, Jian Shi. I am currently located in a small alley running north-south nearby Taipingzhuang. This is a noodle shop, and the young man we captured on our camera is the recent internet hotspot Yang Hao. Yang Hao, 23 years old, is a student majoring in drama in the literature department of the 2006 cohort at Beijing University. He is currently in his senior year and is in the internship stage. The reason why Yang Hao suddenly became popular on the internet is different from last year's singing by a girl from Xidan. It is because he suffers from a very strange disease, schizophrenia, a bipolar disorder. Netizens who are not familiar with the situation may ask, what is so strange about schizophrenia? Patients with this symptom are present in mental hospitals in any city. But Yang Hao is different because his illness is very regular, starting at 8 p.m. every day and ending at 8 p.m., with start and end times precise to milliseconds. And this matter, let's start from a week ago. Last Sunday afternoon, the famous star teacher of Beijing, Huang Lei's yellow dog, died and was exhausted on the school playground. Although there is no mirror, Ni standing in the noodle shop at this moment can still know that her mouth is definitely wide open. Sleeping in bed, this schizophrenia is also amazing, isn't it? Not only can he get sick on time and recover to normal on time, but he can also race against the dog on the playground, and even forcefully run to the death of one of teacher Huang's dogs, making it difficult for the students walking around in the school to hold on to. This means that I have been busy auditioning recently and have no time to surf the internet. If I were not busy, my sisters would definitely be able to have fun on the internet with my sisters in the dormitory. The photographer named Jian Shi had a clear idea in his mind. Standing next to the camera, he had just finished introducing the situation when the time came to 19.59.47. 13, 12, 11, 10. Like the vast majority of people in the noodle shop, Ni also watches the electronic clock that can be precise to milliseconds, counts down, and constantly monitors the condition of young people with ankle shackles on their feet. And the young man in a suit is now sitting at a dining table near the kitchen door. Bang! The young man slapped the dining table. Upon hearing the sound, Ni immediately went to look at the electronic clock. At this moment, the time displayed on the electronic clock happened to be exactly 20 o'clock, not more than a second, not more than a second. As for milliseconds, Ni believes that her reaction is not so precise. And just as Ni was reflecting on herself, suddenly a deep and majestic voice rang out from the noodle shop. "Shop owner, come up quickly with lamb soup, porridge, and guawazi. And there's shimping fermented glutinous rice." Looking at the voice, Ni blinked her eyes and couldn't believe it. The words came from a young man's mouth. Is this the god of war, Bai Qi, mentioned by those people just now? Just as I was thinking, someone was talking in the noodle shop. But in front of Lord Wuan. The speaker was an old man in a white coat, who looked like a doctor. He sat not far from the young man, smiling and looking friendly. Ni secretly felt relieved that it was better to stand in her own position, and she could observe carefully on both sides. It's foolish, who are you? What year was it now and then? The old man in a white coat did not answer him, but continued to ask downwards. Chen. How many years has King Zhou reigned? 58 years. Where do you want to go? The old man in a white coat asked again. The Grand Palace. Why? The King of Qin wanted to summon you to Zhao, but you wanted to refuse. At this moment, the young man's expression was serious and gloomy, as if complaining about the unfairness of fate. Seeing this, Ni, who was quite brave, suddenly felt a little excited. So this is schizophrenia. How do I look like a ghost in a literary work? Just as Ni thought of this, the art style in the noodle shop suddenly changed. The calm and composed young man just now suddenly smiled with his orchid fingers raised. Hee. Human slaughter, you old man. During the entire spring and autumn and warring states period, about 2 million people died due to war, while you alone killed 1 million. Why, you have a hidden heart now. If it were me, not to mention asking questions, all these people in front of me would die, hee. The young man's voice became sharp and thin, and he didn't have to listen to what he was saying. Just his voice made Ni feel creepy. If it weren't for the ankle shackles, Ni would have guaranteed that she would definitely step out of this Yangchun noodle shop with her long legs. How to describe it? Eunuch. At this moment, this young man suddenly reminds himself of an ancient profession, eunuch. Who are you? A middle-aged man in a white coat, originally using a laptop to take notes, now looks up and asks. You don't have to be either you or not. Our family can understand what you say. Our original name was Zhang Xiangjai, styled Yunting, and the palace was named Zhang Rand, also known as Xiaodezhang. A sharp and delicate voice reached this point, and suddenly the conversation changed. Shop owner, bring us a bowl of noodles. After the noodles are ready, take them out and spread them with green coriander. Then, add a few drops of sesame oil. As for Ren Tu Baichi, this old man, just give him a bowl of soup-soaked rice. A dead ghost from the spring and autumn and warring states period has seen something before. A bowl of soup-soaked rice is enough to make him overjoyed. Hee. What else are you eating? The sudden change shocked the people in the noodle shop. People originally thought this was a type of schizophrenia with a distinctive dual personality, but they didn't expect it to become a multiple personality with the emergence of Xiaodezhang. Noodles are served quickly. After all, this is Yangchun Noodle Restaurant, selling noodles. Moreover, the requirements of Xiaodezhang are not complicated. The rice, also served quickly, was already in the boss's rice cooker, and there was a thick broth boiling on the stove next to it. It smelled like a handful of meat from Ji Nanfu. A bowl of noodles, a bowl of meat soup soaked rice. At this moment, the trembling and tearful shop owner placed them in front of the young man. The young man turned his head, glanced at him sideways, and then picked up his chopsticks with his left hand in his right hand at the same time. The chopsticks on the left pick up a piece of noodles, while the chopsticks on the right pick up a greasy and plump pork belly. The movements of both hands are almost simultaneous. Shop owner, are you eating glutinous pork? Baichi Ren Tu, you old man, it's good to have meat to eat. Why are you still shouting? Xiaodezhang, do you think fools dare not kill you? Come on, Baichi, you old man, come and kill me if you have the guts. Although Ni is not very old and just in her early 20s, due to the emergence of the internet, she thinks she has a lot of knowledge and has basically seen any strange news. For example, in a certain place of a polar bear, an old man became very animalistic after drinking alcohol and forcibly engaged in sexual intercourse with the pig at home, resulting in the birth of a monster with a human face and a pig body. For example, a man in a certain area accidentally drove another tractor down a mountain slope in the dark. He quickly took out his phone to contact his brother.in.law and wanted to discuss how to deal with it. Connect the phone, communicate a few words, and my brother.in.law says, "It's me who you fucking hit." For example, some outrageous San became interested in the crocodiles he raised. No matter how extraordinary Ni was, she never imagined that there would be such a magical thing in the world, where 3 souls could live in one person's body at the same time. However, just as Ni shook her head and sighed, the time on the electronic clock arrived at exactly 8:15. The young man who had just been fighting with his left and right hands has now returned to normal, with clear eyes and a faint smile on his face. Experts, I'm sorry to trouble you, but can you see anything? End of this chapter. Chapter 4.3, Bragging Dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4.3, Bragging Dad. Afraid of her father's concern, Ni did not stay at the Yangchun noodle restaurant to continue watching the excitement. Instead, she glanced at the young man named Yang Hao again and separated from the crowded crowd, leaving the door. At this moment, the street is much livelier than before, with many young couples wearing school uniforms from Beijing University strolling hand in hand in this less spacious alley. Take a look at a barbecue restaurant, a beauty salon, encounter a book stall, and even squat down to check with the street lights to see if there are any reading materials that are not suitable for children. Here some young couples stroll to a place of deep affection and stop directly, kissing mouth to mouth for a moment, ignoring the crowds coming and going in the alley. It's better to go to Beijing. At least in terms of dating, Beijing Film Academy doesn't care much. Unlike Nanjing University, where college leaders always emphasize that young people can understand dating, I suggest that you start dating after entering society. The main purpose of studying at school now is to learn. As they walked, the neon lights shook their heads and quickly left the alley. At the entrance of the alley, stop at the neon station and take a left and right look. Is it better to take the bus or just take a taxi back to the hotel? Contradictively, I suddenly saw a familiar figure standing on the roadside. Teacher Chang. Chang Jihong. Ni recognized her. Before 8 p.m., she handed herself a business card at Yangchun Noodle Restaurant and said she would contact her if she wanted to enter the entertainment industry in the future. Due to the lack of any suffixes after the name Chang Jihong on the business card, such as general manager, director, chairman, etc., Ni referred to her as a teacher. When going out and encountering people in the entertainment industry, calling them teachers is always right. Oh. Neon. It is obvious that Chang Jihong has a good memory. When she turned her head and saw Ni, she immediately called out her name. Teacher Chang, why are you here? I'm waiting for someone, Chang Jihong smiled. Neon. Just now, you were also at the Yangchun Noodle Restaurant. What do you think about what happened inside? Ni, who was not well prepared and wanted to come over and say hello before taking a car to leave, didn't expect Chang Jihong to ask herself this question. It's okay, Ni, just say whatever comes to your mind, right? Chang Jihong's face showed an encouraging smile. After a moment of contemplation, Ni said seriously, Teacher Chang, I think that young man is so pitiful. He has this strange disease at a young age, and I don't know if it can be cured with current medical methods. Haha. Chang Jihong laughed at the words. What's wrong, Teacher Chang? Am I wrong? Ni couldn't understand. Oh, it's nothing, I just feel like you should go back. At this point, Chang Jihong reached out and stopped a taxi for Ni on the roadside. However, when Ni got into the taxi and fastened her seatbelt, Chang Jihong still leaned over the passenger window and whispered to her, Ni, do you like reading online novels? There is a very popular online novel on Qidian website called The First Chaos in History, by Zhang Xiaohua. I recommend you go and read it. October 1st, 2009, National Day. Sunny. It has been 8 days since I traveled here, from being lost and at a loss, to feeling guilty, and now to feeling so sweet. The hardships of my journey are truly unimaginable. Of course, if you think hard, you can figure it out. Since you can't resist fate's arrangement, you have to bravely accept it. Not bad, this body is very young, only in his early 20s this year. He is a student at Beijing University, and his height and appearance are all excellent. His name is also Yang Hao. Perhaps this is also the reason why I was able to smoothly penetrate my soul into this body. According to Yang Hao's classmates, he was hit by a car on his way to meet his girlfriend, and his head hit the curb heavily. Then he left and came by himself. As for how he died in the beautiful country, until now, I still haven't figured it out. Perhaps it was because Elon Musk's neural connection company made some mistake during the surgery, and he died directly on the operating table. I didn't even have the chance to experience the side effects of brain transplant computer chips, such as using a wooden stick to poke the exhaust pipe of a car on the street. However, when it comes to side effects, one thing that comes to mind is that on the afternoon when my soul passed by, I left the hospital and returned to school. When I saw a yellow dog on the playground of the film academy, I couldn't help but want to race against it. That crazy thought, no matter how hard I tried to suppress it, couldn't be suppressed. Even if I wanted to use the method of admiring a beautiful woman to divert my attention at the time, it couldn't have any effect. Of course, this may also be some kind of abnormality that occurs in the body after a head injury, because in the hospital, this body had undergone brain CT scans, and everything in the brain was normal except for a slight congestion. Like in his previous life, Yang Hao, who was several decades younger, still maintained the habit of writing a diary every day. At 9:45 p.m., after the last wave of guests left the Yangchun noodle restaurant, Yang Hao locked himself in the storage room next to the kitchen. He first locked himself inside, then took out paper and pen, sat on a toilet, wrote about what happened today, and then wrote about his own insights. Currently, there are still a few things that have not been fully understood. 1. Who is Yang Hao's girlfriend? Where has their relationship progressed so far? I asked several classmates in Yang Hao's class about this, but none of them knew about it. 2. Yang Hao's master is Song Fanggui, a well-known screenwriter in the industry. Currently, as the screenwriter for the TV series, Mobile Phone, he is working with his team in Kwandia Village, Shaitong Town, Mentugu. And I haven't met Song Fanggui yet, and I don't know if I can adapt when we officially meet. You should know that in our past lives, we were very close friends. Every time we finished drinking, the two of us sat together, fighting against the sky, the earth, and the air. Well, there was also Song Dandan. And in this lifetime, he became a master disciple. Who the hell are you asking me to reason with? 3. A week ago, I was still a 68-year-old gangster. As my father in his 90s had been with his sister, he basically fed himself and the whole family was not hungry. But who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, he had a father who was only 46 years old this year and still owned a noodle shop called Yangchun Noodle, dang 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 dang. As soon as the diary was written here, Yang Hao heard a knock on the door. Haozi. What are you doing inside? What's wrong? I just wanted to find something. As Yang Hao casually replied, he took out a lighter from his pocket and lit the piece of paper he had written his diary on. He threw it to the ground and watched it burn to ashes before walking over to open the door. What's going on? Why does it have a sticky smell? Yang Chun glanced at the tall and imposing son in front of him, then turned his head to look into the storage room. The love letter written by the girl to me, after reading it once, was burned by me. Yang Hao calmly explained this. Haha. Not bad. Yang Chun looked at the ashes on the ground and then punched Yang Hao, no longer looking like he was crying in front of everyone just now. Indeed, it is my Lao Yang seed, and in terms of attracting girls, it is the same as me back then. Could you tell me first how much money we made today? Yang Hao interrupted him in time, afraid that Yang Chun would blow further and further on the road of boasting. 500 bowls, from morning till now, we have sold a total of 500 bowls of Yangchun noodles and Duro noodles, with a turnover of over 8,000 and a profit of over 3,500. If this continues, in less than a month, our small shop's net profit will exceed 100,000. Hey. Howsy, why are you going? Go home and sleep, you can look at the store here yourself. Oh, by the way, remember to close the doors and windows. Yang Hao, who had already walked quickly to the street, raised his right hand and shook it in the air. End of this chapter. Chapter 5.4, Who is Crazy? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5.4, Who is Crazy? The house is rented. Located at number 77 North 3rd Ring Middle Road Courtyard, there is also a more prominent name here called Beiying Community. Although the Beiying community is dilapidated and often looks like old red brick buildings from the 1970s, the people living here have a considerable background, such as Gu Zhuang's father, Chen Chang's father, Chen Paisai's father, Guan Zongxiang's father, and so on. They are all old residents here. For the sake of his son, Yang Chuaning can rent his house here, which shows that he is a very shrewd person. After all, everyone knows that in the entertainment industry, networking is the most important. Sometimes when treating guests and giving gifts, even if it's a voluntary sacrifice, it's not necessarily effective for these old artists to say something. Yuzi, Yang Hao is a good kid with a sweet mouth. I heard he is still a screenwriter who graduated from the literature department of Beijing Film Academy. How about you help him find a job? And with Grandpa Gu speaking, I believe many production teams would be very willing to give Yang Hao a chance, just as a co-writer. It's not a big deal. So, as he walked out of the Yangchun noodle restaurant, Yang Hao was contemplating his own affairs while strolling towards the Beiying community. Just as he came out of the alley and turned two corners, Yang Hao was stopped by a middle-aged woman with short hair. Hi handsome guy, your acting skills are not bad. Ah. Yang Hao was taken aback for a moment, but when he saw the middle-aged woman in front of him clearly, he immediately smiled. Sister Chang, you're joking. Hey. Do you know me? Now, it was Chang Jihong's turn to be surprised. Although I have a good relationship with screenwriter Song Fangui and often walk around during Chinese New Year and holidays, and this handsome guy is also Song Fangui's disciple. I am confident that the two have never met before. Of course, I know you now. Sister Chang, you are a famous entertainment agent in our country, such as senior sister Wang Luodan and famous actress Sun Li, all of whom are artists under your umbrella standing under the streetlight. Yang Hao spoke calmly and confidently. Oh. Chang Jihong smiled, feeling a sudden realization. Handsome guy, do you feel like you're about to graduate? You look around for opportunities to see if you can make a living in the industry, and then you inquire about all these domestic entertainment companies and agents. Yes. Yang Hao nodded. This is not a lie either, because Yang Hao, a young man who just left a few days ago, did just that. He collected all the information about companies and agents in the entertainment industry. Just about asking where the cleaning lady of Hawaii Film and Television Company is from. Okay, handsome guy, feel free. Since you know me, I'll just say it straight. I followed your news online and watched your performance live. I am very interested in you. Well, why don't we do this? Your agent has signed into my name and I promise to give you a guaranteed monthly salary of 2,000 yuan, regardless of whether there is a performance or not. How about that 2,000 yuan? That's already quite a bit. Chang Jihong confidently believed that the handsome guy in front of her would definitely agree. You should know that nowadays, graduates from art schools sign contracts with entertainment agencies. In the early stages, they usually bring their own dry rations, and if there is work, you can do it. When there is no work, you can eat your own food. But who could have imagined? Yang Hao in front of him frowned. Sister Chang. Let's put the signing aside for now. Where did you tell that I was just performing? Haha. Upon hearing Yang Hao's question, Chang Jihong laughed heartily. Handsome guy, although I don't know how you got sick on time and finished work on time, after my careful observation on site for 4 days, this so-called schizophrenia on your body is definitely a play. Because every time you arrive, you are intentionally or unintentionally observing the camera. Today, several more cameras have been installed in the Yangchun Noodle restaurant. Each camera is located in a certain position, and the height and nature of the light source are also included at this point. Chang Jihong, who felt a bit unsatisfied, breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Speaking of which, handsome guy, your acting skills are really good. I think among actors of your age in China, there will definitely be no more than 2 people who can surpass your level. You played Bai Qi. Today, I saw it for the 4th time, but every time I saw it, it amazed me. The aura. The gaze. The tone of speech. It was absolutely amazing. Oh, by the way. The new character you added today, Xiao Dezhang, is also good, especially the raised orchid finger when you speak, which is like the gesture of a Hong Kong singer holding a microphone. Yang Hao didn't speak, so he stood beside and listened quietly. After Chang Jihong finished speaking, he patiently waited for a while before saying, Sister Chang, although I don't know what you mean by saying these words. But now, I can answer you with certainty that signing in as an actor under your banner, I definitely disagree because it's not my ambition. Oh, what are your aspirations? Chang Jihong became curious. Be a director. To be a director. Yes, it's about being a director. Because I like to control others, but I don't like being controlled by others. Well, that's it. At this point, Yang Hao slightly bowed to this famous entertainment agent, then took a step back and bypassed her to leave. However, when Yang Hao passed by Chang Jihong's side, he still said a few words in the end. Sister Chang, I know you and my master Song Fonggui are very good friends. Otherwise, I have a movie script here that requires an investment of 10 million renminbi. If you can invest in me, then I will sign my agency contract with you. 10 million renminbi. A college student who hasn't even left the school gate dares to say, Sister Chang, you invested 10 million renminbi in my movie script. Is this damn me crazy, or are you crazy? However, just as Chang Jihong, who was feeling unsatisfied with her slander, wanted to speak up and curse, she turned her head to find that the tall young man just now had already spread his long legs and walked into the nearby Beiying community. The house that Yang Chun rented for Yang Hao is on the 2nd floor, with a large area of 118.06 square meters, consisting of 3 bedrooms, 1 living room, 1 bathroom, and 1 kitchen. The layout design is extremely unreasonable, with neither of the 2 bedrooms facing south having balconies. The damn living room is actually in the middle, completely dark, and the bathroom has no windows. Moreover, the bathroom door faces the entrance door. There's nothing we can do. Currently, the sum of the 2 of them is only 50 or 60,000 yuan. If you want to change houses, even if it's a rented one, you have to work hard. Yang Hao returned home, turned on the light, threw the key into the shoe cabinet, walked to the bedroom, turned on the computer, and then took a large towel from the clothes hanger in the bedroom and went straight to the bathroom. Taking a shower is a necessary routine for Yang Hao before going to bed every day, whether in his past or present life. Due to Yang Hao's lack of cleanliness fetish, his bathing time was not too long. After 20 minutes, he sat in front of the computer with his hair dried and refreshed. Click on the main page and log into the internet. At this time, Yang Hao logged into the website 58.com. Soon, he found his own account. I sell popular music works with complete lyrics and a price of 200,000 renminbi per piece. Interested parties, please leave a message in the comments section. I want to drink cold water, but I'm afraid of getting stuck in my teeth. After looking at the information he posted, it was not blocked by the website, so Yang Hao turned his gaze to the comments section. Pork meat. Brother Ya, are you here to be funny, right? End of this chapter. Chapter 6.5, Cherries. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6.5, Cherries. Shop owner, come up quickly with lamb soup, porridge, and gwawazi. And there's Xingping fermented glutinous rice. But in front of Lord Wuan. It's foolish, who are you? What year was it now and then? Jiachen. How many years has King Zhou reigned? 58 years. Where do you want to go? Sleeping trough, it's amazing. The handsome young man's face only changed, just like Wuan Jun, who was killing people like a horse during the Warring States period, sitting in front of him. His imposing demeanor were simply amazing. Is it true or false? Although I haven't graduated from kindergarten yet, I seem to know that schizophrenia is not like this. It should be true. Didn't you listen to the psychiatrists sitting on the scene? The behavior of this young man is very consistent with the characteristics of multiple personality schizophrenia, but why did he get sick on time and end it on time? This needs to be studied carefully. I don't understand anything, so I just wanted to come over and ask a weak question. A type of mental illness patient like the one in the video doesn't need to be locked up in a professional mental hospital, right? The neon lights rise very early. I got up from the bed at 6:15. However, she did not change into sportswear and go for a run as usual. Instead, she tiptoed into the living room of the hotel suite holding her laptop, plugged in the internet cable, and sat on the sofa surfing the internet. Last night, at the Yangchun noodle shop, I listened to the filmmaker named Jianshi. After his video was edited, it would be uploaded to the Youku video website overnight. Log into the internet and click on Youku video. As expected, a video titled Magical Schizophrenia was placed on the homepage of the website. So, I was enjoying the video, reminiscing about the magical scene she witnessed with her own eyes last night, and browsing through the comments of netizens. Take a closer look, there are quite a few comments in the comments section. It has only been 6 hours since the video was uploaded, and there are 25,000 comment posts here. From the comments, it can be seen that the opinions of netizens on Guagua are diverse. Some people believe that this is fake. This handsome guy is a student at Beijing Film Academy. He has no money, no backstage, and no one to praise him, so he can only hype himself up. Some people believe that this is true because a person's aura cannot be portrayed, especially in the video where the two characters, Xiao Dezhang and God of War by Qi, switch instantaneously. Without real-life experiences, this effect cannot be portrayed. And this type of schizophrenia, in our rural areas, is called ghost on the body, and it is not difficult to treat. It is just to have a skilled person hold a screwdriver-sized awl and poke it twice, and then release blood. Of course, there is another type of person who says it's a pity. For example, a fighting enthusiast named Su Xiaodong said, "Unfortunately, I was not present at the scene. If I were present, with just one punch, I would know whether this war god by Qi is true or not." Just as I was enjoying watching videos and comments, she suddenly felt something was wrong. She turned her head and saw her father standing behind her at the moment. "Dad, did I wake you up?" "Recently, my dad has been feeling unwell and has a slight nervous breakdown. Even a slight movement can wake him up." I thought it was because she had turned on the external sound of her computer too loud, which woke him up. "No, just now, your mother called and said that Mr. Song took the initiative to contact your mother's relatives." "Oh, what did teacher Song Fongui say? When can he teach me?" Before Dad could finish speaking, I stood up from the sofa. "This is my main purpose of coming to the capital." Unexpectedly, at this moment, Ni's father smiled and shook his head. "Song Fongui currently doesn't have time to teach you because he went to Hunan province with the TV drama Mobile Phone crew last night and seems to be staying there for a week. Of course, teacher Song also mentioned over the phone that if we have time, we can wait for him here for a week. If you don't have time to wait, why not go to his studio and talk to his apprentice?" Song Fongui said that his disciple was actually a very talented young man. "Well, this way." I touched her chin with her hand and couldn't make up her mind for a moment. "Neon. Dad suggested that we go over and take a look now. What did Mr. Song's disciples say today? If he can analyze the novel, The 13 Hairpins of Jinling, and the character Zhao Yuma, then let's listen to him talk. If it doesn't feel good, we can wait here for a few more days. Anyway, you are in your 3rd year and the courses are not very tight. Well, let's go listen to Teacher Song's disciples lecture today. Ni followed suit and happily accepted her father's advice. Do you remember saying that home is the only castle? As the Daoxiang River continues to run, smiling slightly, I know my childhood dreams. Don't cry, let the firefly run away with you. When the phone rang, Yang Hao was making breakfast in the kitchen. According to my father Yang Chun's suggestion, we have a noodle shop at home, so you don't need to cook at home. A bowl of hard-rolled noodles is served and topped with fragrant broth. This breakfast is not stronger than anything else. Believe in the original Yang Hao, he also ate like this under his father's education. But now, in his past life, Yang Hao, who knew how to eat, drink, and play, naturally wouldn't be so perfunctory. Top-quality lean meat, take half a pound, chop it with a knife, and put it in a bowl. If the size of the egg is not too big, then add 4 whole eggs and beat them on top of the chopped lean meat. Next, add chopped scallions, ginger, diced radish, as well as salt, soy sauce, and seasonings bought from the supermarket. Stir well. After the meat filling is completed, the next step is to mix the dough. When making a strong steamed bun, the dough needs to be very particular, using 20% of the dough and 80% of the dead dough. But just as Yang Hao was standing in the kitchen and making noodles, there was a call on his phone. Cherry. Seeing this name, Yang Hao was surprised and realized that it was time to come. If I guess correctly, the person who called should be the girlfriend of the deceased Yang Hao. Cough. Yang Hao cleared his throat and made some preparations before pressing the answer button on his phone. Hello. Before the words could be spoken, the other party started cursing over the phone. Yang Hao, what do you mean? I just broke up with you. Do you need to commit suicide? He even ran to the middle of the road and said, let all the cars come and kill you. I was so damn blind when I saw you back then. Yang Hao, okay, you. When I was dating you, I only said a few words. Huang Lei was much more artistic than you when he was young. However, you failed to commit suicide on the road and ran to our school to kill Huang's big yellow dog. Yang Hao, what's wrong? You have become successful now. In order to attract my attention to you, I played the role of a lunatic right now in that noodle shop at your house. Hee. To be honest, you acted really well. Even though I am currently filming in Hengdian, I have noticed you. Of course, there's nothing I can do if I don't pay attention to it. My good friends take turns calling me. Yanzi, what happened between you and Yang Hao? Why is this guy going crazy? Yang Hao, please don't torture me anymore. Aren't you just trying to make me feel guilty? I'll tell you now. I feel guilty about breaking up with you, and now I feel so guilty that I'm dying. Well, otherwise, how about waiting for a while and returning to the capital? I'll pay you a breakup fee of 50,000 yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 7, 6, Ah San. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, 6, Ah San. October 2nd, 2009, sunny today. While making breakfast, I received an important phone call. The name noted in my phone book was Cherry, former girlfriend of Yang Hao. I received 3 messages on the phone. Firstly, Yang Hao committed suicide due to a breakup. He was hit by a car on the roadside and had his head smashed. Then he left and arrived by himself. 2. My ex-girlfriend's name is Yanzi, a person in the entertainment industry who is also a student of Beijing Film Academy. Of course, it is currently unknown which level she is at or whether she has graduated from Beijing Film Academy. 3. The voice of former Yang Hao's ex-girlfriend is a bit familiar, but I can't remember who it is at the moment, so I'm sure she won't be a top-tier actress. Because the top female stars in the industry, from the 1980s to the 1930s, I was basically very familiar with them. 8.30 Yang Hao sat in the Song Fangui screenwriting studio and started writing diaries. There was no way he could do it, but it was a habit he had developed over the years and it was difficult to change it. Former Yang Hao's ex-girlfriend's phone had just hung up when Song Fangui, who had been filming in Hunan province last night, called in. According to Song Fangui's advice over the phone, there will probably be a young girl coming to the screenwriting studio today to seek help, with the aim of having a professional screenwriter analyze a character in the novel for her. Analyzing characters should not be too difficult. Although I was just a photographer in my past life and a very creative photographer, my ability to deceive people is still quite good, especially when dealing with women. Oh, by the way, when I first heard Song Fangui's voice, my buddies almost didn't call out his nickname, Jizhuang, because this guy always likes to show off when he goes to the bathhouse to take a shower while writing vigorously in the office. Yang Hao suddenly heard someone knocking on the door. Dang 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 dang. Here we go. Yang Hao agreed and took out a lighter from his pocket. He lit the paper on which he had written half of his diary, threw it to the ground, and stared at it completely turning into ashes before getting up and walking out to open the door. There are too many secrets on this piece of paper, there must be no future troubles. Although it is called a studio, the conditions here are very simple. There are 3 rooms in total, with one on the left being the study where Song Fangui wrote, the room on the right is where Yang Hao usually works, while the room in the middle with a door to the outside is the living room, which is equipped with a set of sofas and a coffee table. As for services such as going to the bathroom, you need to run to the Yangchun noodle restaurant across the street to do it. On the first day of his journey, Yang Hao seriously doubted whether Yang Chun had once threatened Song Fangui. If you don't let my son worship you as his teacher, I will not let you use the toilet in the future. Pushing open the door of the suite, Yang Hao walked around the sofa and coffee table in the middle of the living room and arrived at the entrance of the studio. He opened the door from inside and was immediately stunned. Ni. Ah. It's you. Song Fangui's tea is good. Taste carefully, with bitterness and sweetness. This warm liquid reaches the throat through the tip of the tongue and seeps into the heart and spleen. Moreover, the aroma of tea cannot be stopped. When brewed with boiling water, the fragrance overflows, like the spring breeze blowing the spring water, creating ripples in the room. Yang Hao, who brought the father and daughter of Ni into the living room, brewed tea and sat on the sofa, sipping tea while waiting for the two of them to speak. Cough. Ni cleared her throat. Can I ask you a question? Of course. Why did you shout out my name as soon as you saw me? My master Song Fangui said that today a beautiful girl named Ni will come to the studio to seek help. Seeing you, I tentatively asked, Ni. Oh, this way, I thought you knew me before, hee. At this moment, Ni smiled a bit embarrassed. Oh, by the way. I was at the Yangchun noodle restaurant across from you at 8 o'clock last night, and I saw the whole process of your illness. I just want to ask, is your schizophrenia real? As soon as Ni finished speaking, her father glared at her daughter hard. How could you talk to Teacher Yang like that? Hee. Teacher Yang, I'm sorry, my daughter doesn't speak through her brain a bit. It's okay. Yang Hao smiled and waved his hand. Where did this go? If in a few years, as soon as Zhao Xiaodao enters the martial arts world and listens to her, that will make people feel satisfied. Teacher Yang, let's do this. You may be busy, let's make a long story short. Today we came here to ask you or Teacher Song Fangui to help us see the character Zhao Yunma in the novel, The 13 Hairpins of Jinling. As Ni Fu spoke, he took out a magazine called Original Edition of Novel Monthly from his pocket and handed it to Yang Hao. Yang Hao politely handed over the magazine, carefully flipped through it for a moment, then closed the book and placed it on the coffee table. Well. Let's put it this way. What kind of effect do you want to achieve? What do you mean? Ni and her father both spoke at the same time. Actually, it's not very interesting either. I just wanted to ask, what level of service do you two plan to choose? Sitting on the sofa, Yang Hao took out paper and pen from his pocket as he spoke, and then began to write and draw. After Yang Hao finished writing, he placed the note paper in front of Ni and Ni father. I just flipped through the novel The 13 Hairpins of Jinling, and roughly divided the services I can provide into 4 levels. Mild, moderate, severe, and moderate. Printing degree. Upon hearing this name, both Ni and her father looked bewildered. Mild, moderate, and severe. We can understand these 3 words, which are nothing more than the degree of deconstruction of the character Zhao Yumo. But what's the point of adding a seal degree? Perhaps sensing the doubts of the 2 people in front of him, Yang Hao smiled and took the initiative to explain. There is a famous scholar in the world who divided all countries around the world into 4 levels based on the severity of apricot crimes, namely mild, moderate, severe, and Indian degree. Pushi. As soon as Yang Hao finished speaking, Ni, who was sitting on the sofa opposite him, burst out laughing. How can there be such experts and scholars in the world? This is simply black printing a san. I see, this is clearly what you made up yourself. However, Ni's smile relieved the reserved atmosphere in the living room. At this moment, Ni's father also spoke up. Teacher Yang, why don't you first explain the charging standards for these 4 levels? Okay. Yang Hao agreed and put down the teacup he had just picked up from the coffee table, then explained with a smile. Mild, according to my understanding and analysis, I will explain to you the characteristics of the character Zhao Yumo. The explanation time will not be too long, about half an hour, and the fee is 100 yuan. Moderately, I will delve into the writer's thoughts and the social environment at that time to comprehensively analyze and deconstruct the character of Zhao Yumo. The explanation time is pretty good, about 4 hours, and the fee is 1,000 renminbi. Heavy, this is quite impressive. I will not only deconstruct the character of Zhao Yunhua for you, but also take you to Jinling for on-site investigation. Starting from a large amount of historical materials, I will visit the survivors at that time and tell you why the writer Yan Geliang created the story of Jinling's 13 hairpins. Due to the relatively long processing time, which takes about 5 days, the fee is relatively higher. If you choose this option, then my labor fee will be 10,000 renminbi, and in addition, you will also be responsible for transportation and accommodation. Ni and her father exchanged a glance and then curiously asked, so? Where is the delta printing? End of this chapter. Chapter 8.7, Are You Still Human? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8.7, Are You Still Human? The fee for printing degrees is 100,000 renminbi. As soon as he spoke, Ni's father pulled his own girl and left with a crazy look on his face. Yang Hao was also quite helpless about this. My friend originally planned to only mention the first 3 quotations, but you were very curious and had to ask for the last quotation. Now, the quotation is out, but you are leaving without looking back. Hey! What is the most basic trust between people? After making such a fuss, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning and there was no way to write in his diary. So Yang Hao returned to his office and opened his computer. As Song Fangui did not leave any homework for former Yang Hao when he left, Yang Hao planned to go online for leisure. As for when he officially entered the writing industry, he would have to wait until his good friend and mentor Song Fangui returned. However, before officially going online, Yang Hao had a habit of checking out the sales information he posted on 58.com. How is it now? I sincerely sell popular music works with complete lyrics and a price of 200,000 renminbi per piece. Interested parties, please leave a message in the comments section. I want to drink cold water, but I'm afraid of getting stuck in my teeth as of now. It has been 5 days since the release, and the sale information is still available, which indicates that the official of 58.com did not consider themselves a lunatic or a fraudster. Thinking about the key points, Yang Hao once again turned his gaze to the message area below the sales information. Waiting for red apricots to emerge from the wall. You are just a lunatic. How dare the lyrics of a song sell for 200,000 renminbi? De Lang should take his medicine now. Who are you? Do you really think you are Jay Chou, Fang Wenshan, and Li Zongsheng? Rain and wind. Don't be like Yang Hao in the Yangchun noodle restaurant, who wants to drink cold water and is afraid of getting stuck in his teeth. I think they all have similar skills, and their behavior is definitely beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Simply put, it's actually a mental illness. Iron Horse Ice River. Has it dispersed? Have you dispersed? This person is here to be funny. The comment section is not very lively, and with yesterday's message, there are only 5 in total. Yang Hao quickly finished browsing. After reading it, Yang Hao shook his head and was about to close the web page when suddenly a new message caught his eye. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. May I ask if you are a music producer? Upon seeing this message, Yang Hao thought for a moment and quickly replied. Want to drink cold water, afraid of choking teeth? No, you can treat me as an intermediary between music creators and singers. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. Oh, that's it. So, do you know many music creators? Want to drink cold water, afraid of choking teeth? You can think so. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. Since you know many music creators, can you help me? And help my friend tailor a song album. Well. My friend used to sing songs for a few years, but they haven't become popular yet. Want to drink cold water, afraid of choking teeth? Of course, but the price is a bit high, at 1 million renminbi per song. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. Ah, the price is so high. So. My friend sang your song, can you guarantee that she will be as popular as Jay Chou? I can't guarantee it because everyone in the circle knows that Xiao Hong relies on holding and De Hong relies on her life. Yang Hao learned from the lesson just now and immediately sent out another reply. Want to drink cold water, afraid of choking teeth? Actually, a song with a quality of 200,000 yuan per song is very good. If your friend is interested, you can tell me which type of song she likes to sing, and we can ship according to her preferences here. Oh, by the way, the types of songs don't have to be limited to Chinese, such as English, Japanese, Korean, Spanish, Russian, and even Thai. We can create them here. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. Ah. You know so many music producers from different countries. Let me talk to my friend and ask if she wants to buy your song. Upon receiving a reply, Yang Hao wanted to chat for a few more words, such as offering discounts on large quantities. However, at that moment, he heard another knock on the door. Dang 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 dang. Here we go. Yang Hao agreed, stood up, and closed the 58.com website. Hey! Why are you? Yang Hao opened the door and was stunned. Ni, who had just been taken away by her father holding hands, now appears again at the entrance of Song Fanggui's screenwriting studio. Hee hee. Standing at the door, Ni, who was tall and graceful, reached back to stroke her hair and then squeezed in with a smile. I just suddenly thought of something and wanted to come back and chat with you. Speak up. I don't know if you have read an online novel called The First Chaos in History, by Zhang Xiaohua. No, Yang Hao shook his head. Really? Ni stared into his eyes. Of course. Yang Hao acted very naturally. It's the protagonist, a pawnshop owner named Xiao Chang, who reaches an immortal deal with a semi-immortal, named Lu Lao Lu, constantly crossing historical figures like Jing Ku, Qin Shi Huang, Lu Bang, Li Bai, Xiang Yu, and so on. But before Ni could finish speaking, Yang Hao frowned and said. Beauty, what do you want to say? I want to say that you didn't actually have any schizophrenia, but rather read Zhang Xiaohua's online novels and wanted to draw on the plot from them to promote yourself. Well. That's it. Nini was a little proud. She was originally standing in the living room of the studio, but by this point, she had already sat down on the sofa and straightened her proud long legs, swaying. And then what? Yang Hao smiled and looked at her. Then I want to make a deal with you. Can you help me analyze the level of Zhao Yuma's character and choose to print degrees? Although I don't know what you mean by degrees, based on my intuition, I can't be wrong. And I'll help you hide that secret just now, okay? Not much. At this moment, Yang Hao sat down across from Nini. Well. I'm going to expose you online, Nini leaned her head over and said fiercely. Neon. Have you ever seen anyone cursing on the street? I've seen it before, what's wrong? Nini was a bit confused. Handsome guy, am I threatening you? Can you be more serious with me? Don't talk about these useless things. Have you ever seen people cursing on the street? Of course I have. But, Yang, what exactly are you trying to say? Nini, do you think it's one person cursing the street that attracts more onlookers, or two people arguing that attracts more onlookers? Of course, it was two people arguing, it was only through interaction that it became lively. But before Nini could finish her words, she immediately stopped talking. Yes, this handsome guy surnamed Yang has already made himself famous enough. If anyone comes up with so-called evidence to question him at this time, then there will definitely be more onlookers and discussions about this matter. Thinking of this, Nini, who was originally full of confidence, quietly put away her proud long legs and then changed her tone. Teacher Yang, why not do this? Let's have a skill exchange. Can you help me analyze the role of Zhao Yuma and I will teach you English? You know, my spoken English is very good at this point. The neon sitting on the sofa immediately burst into English. When I was a child, my third aunt told me that in our country, foreign companies have the best salary and welfare benefits. However, if I want to work in foreign companies, I must learn English well. Therefore, since the second grade of elementary school, I have never let go of English learning. You know, I'm different from the students in school. What I focus on is speaking practice. Well, Nini, your spoken English is pretty good, but why does it sound like there's a curry flavor to me? Isn't it that your English foreign teacher is Ah-san? And Yang Hao is also speaking in English. You. Do you think so? Believe it. Mas esta tudo bem, puedo perdonar tu ignorancia. Yang Hao just switched his language mode to Thai and saw the beautiful woman with bright eyes and white teeth suddenly stand up from the sofa, cursing fiercely. Sleeping trough. Are you still human? End of this chapter. Chapter 9.8, Installment Payments. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9.8, Installment Payments. Teacher Yang, look, the table is all dirty. How about I help you wipe it? Teacher Yang, do you want to drink tea? Let me help you brew 2 cups of tea. The tea you just used to entertain me and my father was quite good, fragrant. Teacher Yang, where is the mop in our studio? I have to mop the floor for you today. The beautiful woman Nini is very clever. Seeing that the threat and exchange were not possible, he immediately turned into a hard-working little bee, rolled up the sleeves of his hoodie, and worked hard in the Song Fonggue screenwriting studio, sweeping the floor, mopping the floor, cleaning the windows, pouring tea and water for Yang Hao. Watching the busy neon lights, Yang Hao remained silent. It wasn't until the beautiful woman finished all the work she needed to do that he smiled and said, "How do you know that I can definitely help you? Maybe I'm lying to you, and the so-called delta is actually a joke I'm telling you. Intuition, a woman's intuition. I was wiping the neon lights on the table in Song Fonggue's study when I lifted my head, wiped my sweat with the back of my hand, and smiled. Yang Hao pondered for a moment and said, "Ni, how much do you plan to spend on asking Teacher Song to help analyze the character?" 5,000, due to the winding relationship between my family and Teacher Song offered a discounted price. 5,000 is a bit short. Yang Hao shook his head. "Let's do this. You can go back and discuss with your father. If you are willing to spend 30,000 yuan before 8 p.m. tonight, I will help you shoot a short film to experience the characters. At the very least, I will let you know what it means to move, what it means to feel light, and what it means to draw." The beautiful woman Ni is a bit excited. Without waiting for Yang Hao to finish speaking, he threw down the cloth and walked over, grabbing his hand. "Teacher Yang, are you saying that you plan to let me make a movie?" "Not a movie, it's just a short film with a duration of over 10 minutes. Of course, if we shoot well, we should still be able to participate in the Youku 11th Youth Series short film competition. You can also upload it to the internet so that all my classmates can see it." Now, Ni became even more excited and shook Yang Hao hard as she grabbed him. "Teacher Yang, let's take this. However, could you give us a cheaper price? My dad and I really don't have much money, it's not cheap." There was no emotion in Yang Hao's words, even if his hand was tightly held by a beautiful woman. Because renting a camera from Beijing Film Studio costs 500 yuan per day, renting lighting equipment costs 200 yuan per day, renting a filming location may cost around 3,000 yuan per day. In addition, we also need to hire lighting technicians, photographers, invited actors, and other actors. "Oh, this way." At this moment, the beautiful woman's gaze was clearly a bit dim. "I know about the situation at home. Although we have reached a moderately prosperous level, we are not short of food and clothing, and occasionally we can buy ourselves 2 good clothes. However, if our parents were to spend 30,000 yuan at once, it would be a bit difficult." Seeing the beautiful woman not speaking, Yang Hao smiled lightly and broke free from her hand, saying, "Well, let's do this for now. You can go back and discuss with your father. If you're willing to shoot a short film, come to the noodle shop tonight at 8 o'clock to find me. Oh, by the way, these 30,000 yuan can only be considered as the down payment for installment payments, and you still have to give the remaining 70,000 yuan at this point." Through the window, Yang Hao pointed to the Yangchun noodle restaurant across from the studio. Coming out of the studio, Ni was a bit annoyed. The stone at the door was kicked out so far by her. Making a movie is one's own dream. Standing in front of the camera and casually placing a few poses can earn a lot of money. But don't you have any money now? My dad is a small leader in the company, earning a monthly salary of 2,700 yuan. My mom is an ordinary employee, earning 2,000 yuan per month. With a monthly gross income of 4,700 yuan, even if we don't eat or drink, it takes 2 years to save up to 100,000 yuan. However, it is obvious that Yang Hao is definitely someone who can help him. A few days ago, he was still unknown, and because he had a strange mental illness, he has now become an internet celebrity. Not to mention Yang Hao's acting skills when he suffered from mental illness, let alone his hype techniques, they are all what he needs. Hey! I'm worried. Walking in the alley, Ni was thinking haphazardly when suddenly she saw a group of people walking ahead, including men and women, old and young, some carrying cameras, some holding recording pens, and others counting 12:34, 1, 2, 3, 4. Start. With this command, the crowd automatically dispersed, highlighting a muscular young man who shook his fist a few times in front of the camera lens and loudly said, "Hello everyone, my name is Su Xiaodong and I am good at Sanda and fighting. Some people call me a fighting maniac, but I prefer others to call me a martial arts professional fighting dummy. Today, the reason why I came to this small alley near Beiying is to use my fists to meet the most powerful character in ancient China, the god of war Bai Qi." Upon hearing the young man's self-introduction to the camera, Ni was momentarily taken aback. Then, with a happy expression on her face, she turned around and pointed her finger in the direction of Song Fanggui's screenwriting studio. Haha. Yang, how can I watch you perform tonight? Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as I am. Well, just now I discussed with my friend, and her intention was to purchase a song from you. However, due to insufficient funds, I was wondering if you could pay in installments. For example, we will give you 20,000 yuan first, and then we will pay you another 20,000 yuan every month until the 200,000 yuan purchase price is fully paid off. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. Also, my friend's voice is similar to that of the music queen Wang Fei, which can be considered quite ethereal, so you can create songs based on the voice of the music queen. Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. What are you doing? Why didn't you reply? Is the installment payment condition feasible or not? Audrey Hepburn is not as beautiful as me. I've been waiting for you for 2 hours, but why haven't you replied yet? Does it feel difficult to create songs based on Wang Fei's tone? Mo. East China University of Political Science and Law. On the picturesque campus path, there is a golden nanny car parked. Inside the nanny car, a girl wearing a school uniform with gold-rimmed glasses on her nose is staring straight at the laptop in front of her. Why haven't you replied yet? Isn't this person a scammer? Did he notice that I wanted to see if the quality of the song was good before deciding how much to pay him? It's impossible. Even my mother doesn't know about this, and how can someone who is far away in the capital know if they want to drink cold water and are afraid of getting stuck in their teeth? The girl frowned and gently turned the chair under her buttocks, but after more than 10 minutes, there was still no movement on the computer page. At this moment, a short-haired girl got into the car. Cece, stop playing with the computer. The director asked me to tell you that the movie is about to start filming. Oh. The girl was a bit panicked and reached out to close her laptop. What are you looking at? Are you admiring the performances of the teachers from childhood? At this moment, the short-haired girl smiled humbly. Go, what kind of things do you like to see? So what are you looking at? The short-haired girl saw her friend nervous and started to tease her, pretending to open the closed laptop. And the girl immediately reached out and grabbed her. Coco, come on, stop making a fuss. Let me tell you, what did I see? It is said online that there is a fighting maniac named Su Xiaodong who is going to the alley near Beiying tonight to meet my junior brother Yang Hao, who is suffering from schizophrenia. Let's see if he's possessed by the god of war, by Qi. End of this chapter. Chapter 10, 9, No Clothing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10, 9, No Clothing. You came quite early. Just as it was getting dark, Ni and her father arrived at the small alley where the Yangchun noodle shop was located. It's not that the father and daughter, who have been discussing for a long time, are eager to spend 30,000 yuan and ask Yang Hao to help shoot a short film, but rather that they simply want to come and join in the fun. Being able to witness an arrogant guy being beaten up with one's own eyes is quite a joyful thing. Yang Hao, how can you act like a lunatic again? Ni, who was following her father, clenched her small fist and smiled as she thought. However, when Ni arrived at the door of the noodle shop again, she was somewhat surprised. Sleeping trough. Why are there so many people? Not to mention arriving before 7:30 p.m., the noodle shop is already bustling with people. Just outside the door, there are 100 or 200 people queuing up to enter. Boss Yang, what's going on? We're here for dinner, why can't we even get in now? Yes, Boss Yang, why don't you let the customers who have already finished eating make way for the place first? Boss Yang, don't worry. We're not here to join the fun, why don't you see, we people don't even bring cameras. I don't know if it was because there was too much noise outside that alarmed the noodle shop owner. At this moment, the door of the noodle shop opened. A young man wearing a pure white t-shirt and smoky gray casual pants walked out from inside. This young man, despite having long legs, walks very wastefully. His head swings quickly left and right, and his gaze quickly and briefly scans back and forth, like a vigilant sewer mouse. Well, it can be considered a beautiful mouse. Although he still has a model face that lives up to his figure, soon this guy will be unlucky, not to mention having a broken nose bridge after being beaten. At least he will be beaten into panda eyes. You should know that fighting maniac named Su Xiaodong has seen him before, and his fists are even bigger than a bull. Ni, who is good at keeping grudges, was crazy to belittle and roast when he saw Yang Hao. However, at this moment, Ni's shoulder was patted from behind and she turned her head over. Oh. Hello, Sister Chang. Under the streetlight, Ni once again saw Chang Jihong, who asked if she wanted to be an actor. Hello. Chang Jihong replied and was about to ask, why, do you understand what's going on? When she saw Ni take a half step back, tug at the clothes of the middle-aged man beside her, and smile. Dad, this is Sister Chang whom I told you last night to leave me a business card. Sister Chang, this is my father, a small clerk from a street office in Jinling. Oh. Hello Mr. Ni, my name is Chang Jihong, currently considered an entertainment agent. Seeing Ni's father in front of me, Chang Jihong quickly shook hands and made a cold noise. Mr. Chang, hello. I am Ni's father. Last night, I heard her child talk and she said, do you think she has the potential to be an actress? Yes, mainly because the child's appearance is too good. However, if Ni really wants to pursue her career as an actor in the future, she may need to refine her acting skills. Ni nodded wildly. That's it, that's it. Ni Fu smiled. As the three of them were chatting, the entrance of the Yangchun noodle restaurant had already changed its appearance. The people who had been queuing up for dinner just now had already served their bowls of noodles. Although everyone was standing, they also had noodles to eat. The customers and many cameras who were originally in the noodle shop have now been moved to the alleyway at the entrance, arranged in a semi-circular shape. With people outside and cameras inside, the focus of many cameras is directly on Yang Hao, who has been securely chained. Hello, netizens, hello everyone. I am your old friend, Jian Shi. I believe all the netizens who watched my video today know that I am currently tracking and filming a strange incident. A young man in his early 20s is actually suffering from a strange illness, and he falls ill at exactly 8 o'clock every night. At 8:15, everything returned to normal on time. Last night, many experts in mental illness came here. Based on the preliminary judgment of the experts on site, the symptoms exhibited by Yang Hao have certain characteristics of multiple personality schizophrenia. Even so, there are still many netizens who do not believe in evil, and they believe that this is definitely false. Yang Hao, like Sister Furong in the past and Sister Feng now, is just hyping up his popularity. Like Su Xiaodong, a martial arts enthusiast who once said that Tai Chi was just a show, he came to the Yangchun noodle shop to personally expose the fact that Yang Hao was not sick, but rather hyped up as soon as the voice of the photographer Qisher finished speaking. A sturdy man with boxing gloves on his hands walked to the center of the field and stood face to face with Yang Hao, about 3 meters away from each other. Young man, quite handsome. Not bad. Yang Hao, wearing a white shirt, smiled faintly. You still have time to regret now, because you are not the god of war, Bai Qi. I don't even know what you're talking about. Yang Hao stepped back and stood on the steps outside the noodle shop. Hee. A sturdy and tough man, his hands wearing boxing gloves touched, waiting for the opportunity. Standing on tiptoe on the periphery, she carefully glanced in the middle of the crowd, and suddenly Nini had something unknown. Sister Chang. If. What I'm saying is that if Yang Hao really has schizophrenia, it seems like he can't beat Su Xiaodong, right? Because Yang Hao only thinks he is the god of war, Bai Qi, and he is not really. Moreover, even if Yang Hao is possessed by the god of war, Bai Qi, his body is not Bai Qi's body, of course. So, why did Su Xiaodong use this method to test whether Yang Hao was actually hyping up? Ni blinked her eyes and said she didn't understand. Because Su Xiaodong also wants to hype up himself. Oh. Ah. And just as Ni was surprised, she suddenly heard her father whispering, Ni, stop talking, it's 8 o'clock. Bai Qi. Su Xiaodong, who had been staring at the electronic clock, shouted loudly in the crowd when he saw that time had arrived. It's foolish, who are you? At this time, Yang Hao's voice has become old, and the original pronunciation of Mandarin is full of strong Qin opera flavor. However, his overall dignity and sense of oppression have increased several times. Foolish. Ha. Su Xiaodong laughed wildly, but amidst the laughter, he slammed his right foot onto the ground and punched Yang Hao in the head with a fierce punch, bang. Someone fell to the ground. Looking at Su Xiaodong, a tough guy who was lying on the ground and arched like a shrimp, Ni was completely bewildered. What happened? Why didn't I see it clearly? Like Ni, most of the onlookers on site were like this. What's going on? What happened? Which camera can watch the playback live? Isn't Su Xiaodong the one invited by Yang Hao? And just as everyone was discussing, a very ancient and majestic song rang out at the entrance of the Yangchun noodle restaurant, with a desolate and majestic voice. How shall it be said that you have no clothes? I will share my long robes with you. Wang Yuxing, repair my spear and spear, share the same grudge with my son. How can it be said that you have nothing to wear? I will share my clothes with you. Wang Yuxing, repair my spear and halberd, work with my son. How can it be said that you have nothing to wear? I will share my lower garments with you. Wang Yuxing, repair my armor, and accompany me on a journey. End of this chapter.